Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Film Thingy Podcast, the podcast that takes your favourite movies and reimagines it through the dark art of improv.
That's John.
And he's Matt. Matt, we've got an absolute banger today. What are we covering?
We're talking, wait for it, late 90s, comedy, Mike Myers in multiple roles. It's Austin Powers International Man of Mystery. Austin Powers, not your choice.
Not my choice.
It's our guest's choice.
Who's the guest, Matt?
Well, let me introduce her. She's a disgraced former BBC radio presenter. She's a stop motion enthusiast. And she's our favourite Canadian if you don't include Celine Dion and Ryan Reynolds. It's Marissa Crimlis-Brown.
Woo!
What an intro. Thank you.
Accurate?
Fairly, I suppose. Yeah.
Do you want to address that before that first
The
point?
elephant in the room.
The scandal, the deep scandals.
Being the third favourite Canadian in the room. Not in the room, obviously, but in our heads.
God, that's a bigger burn, isn't it?
No, I mean, I don't know you that well, Marissa, but I do hear that you have serious beef with BBC Radio.
So, no, you used to work on the radio in
I
Cambridge,
did.
right? How did that happen? What did you... in the nicest possible way. No, how did you start in radio?
Found myself in Cambridge, and I'm not obviously from Cambridge originally, if my accent dictates that. Yeah. And so I found myself there, and I used to do a lot of events, and I ended up talking on the radio a lot, and they asked me to join one of their Saturday shows, and then it turned into a Friday night, kind of before you go out dancing, listen to some tunes, listen to me.
So you did like you got people up.
I
G'd
people up.
Okay.
If anyone came to town, any comedian, any celebrity, any chef, then I interviewed them.
Glutton.
And then and that was Cambridgeshire, so represent Peterborough, Ely, all sorts. And then I mean, this is definitely Nick was the other, definitely much more impressive counterpart, and he was the music guy. So he created some music anthems, and we played them and got people ready for the Friday.
And why the fall from grace?
I mean, I had babies.
Typical.
Are there any misconceptions the listeners might have about Canada that you want to address?
Well, on behalf of the country, no. Do you have any you want to address?
I would like to say something.
Okay.
I'm going to make an announcement. I really like poutine. Poutine's one of my favourite things.
Putin or poutine?
I don't know. How do you pronounce it?
You're talking about the president of Russia, no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I thought he was Canadian.
Poutine, yeah.
Yeah.
It's our delicacy, a national delicacy.
I think you should have... Was there ever a restaurant anyway called Putin's, but it was a poutine restaurant. But everyone was dressed up as Putin. Putin.
Rasputin.
So
Do you bring it
Putin, dressed as Putin, eating poutine.
Some of history and present day's favorite heroes.
I really like poutine, which is
but
I
always
didn't know it was
find
Canadian
it
until
is
like
our
a few months ago.
national dish.
Yeah.
But then I always think here in England, it's very like you describe it and people are like cheesy chips and gravy. Whatever, we have that.
That's all right. That's why I like it.
And a cheese curd.
You had
I've never had it, but I am aware of it.
Have you had cheesy chips and gravy?
I don't think I've ever
aware
had
of
cheese.
it.
I've worn it.
it.
Yeah, I've worn it so many times where I'll go out and I'll make sure to put my Putin on before I go.
Cheese on first, obviously.
For the adhesion.
Comes on last. Yeah.
Chips, gravy.
I think you'd like it.
What's the best way? Is there a particular way to have it that I should, or is it
Chips,
just literally chips?
smothered in gravy, cheese curds. That is the big differentiator. They're like fluffy, crunch, kind of like squeaky cheese.
What type of cheese is it?
Oh, that's a great question. It's cheese curds. I don't know.
Okay.
Move back to the film.
I'll ask this one, even though I might probably already address it with what you've just said, but what's the biggest difference between Canada and Hull, other than one being an entire country and one being a small shipping port?
I mean, we have a Hull in Canada. There's a Hull next to where... So I'm from Ottawa, which is the capital that nobody knows.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I knew that.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
It's where, Parliament, but it's where bands miss on their way from like Toronto to Montreal, though they could go to Ottawa. They miss it. on purpose
I always think
Why
of
is
it
that?
like
because they're
sorry,
mean
Matt.
and hurtful.
No,
It's very
sorry, you always
hurtful.
think of it as.
No, I was gonna say, I
You
think
always think of Ottawa as. Go on.
Non-stop
the
thinking about
same
Ottawa.
thing as like in Australia, everyone presumes that Sydney is the capital, when it's Canberra, right?
It is exactly the same thing. Yeah. So we have a real
So
chip on our
Ottawa.
shoulders. But if you cross the bridge and you go to the French side, which
But
is
the chip on your shoulders,
the poutine chip on my
gravy
shoulder, yeah,
and cheese. Yeah, no, that's good.
slathered on my shoulder right now,
Dripping.
like a wet parrot. But it,
A parrot covered in cheese and gravy with chips inside it.
more merch opportunities there.
Parrot with chips coming out of it.
Natives of Canada, are they? Or-
But you cross the bridge and you're in Hull, baby. So that
Okay.
is the same. It is the same experience.
Is that how everyone says
Equally
it
wonderful.
when you get there? Like, you're in Hull, baby. Is that how they all say it? We don't say it like that here, do we?
It's where all the
Maybe we
strip clubs
should.
are and the
Is it?
yeah,
Of
late
course,
night
yeah.
venues.
Oh, so it's like a seedy
A bit
part
of French,
town.
yeah, it's
So you'll
pretty
see like
seedy.
Brian
Yeah.
Adams will be there.
Strategically.
I would like to know if you have, from your time on radio, if you have any interest in
You
celebrity.
mentioned earlier that you'd crossed
Paths
paths
with
with chefs,
Chefs.
authors, DJs, actors.
Dish the
Dish,
goth.
Dish the Goth.
Dish the goth.
That was really good. That's
On
one of
some
the
of
better
those
ones.
chefs.
So I used to meet, the thing is, obviously being from Canada, I don't know, like culturally, it took a lot to get used to like England and the culture here, you know what I mean? So I would be
What was
often,
the biggest culture shock?
well, I think I was really struck early on with comedians, like how, because in Canada, it always feels really disparate. Like we don't have this centralized, because we're big, massive, and then we look to America, I think, for all our entertainment, you know, we get a lot of that. Whereas here, everyone's so loyal to the, you know, 7-star comedians that they have and the comedy and kind of getting used to that. So that was a big, like,
So it was an improvement.
yeah, it was really, it was a
the-
cool, that was a really good, like, you know, never mind the buzzcocks.
Are we
and
on the 7? That's
don't
it.
know.
8 out of, you're in the top 12. How about that?
Of,
Local Hull talent.
We'll take it.
we're the top 12
Hull
in the
talent
east of Hull.
in Canada.
Yeah.
Big Gatineau scene.
Yeah, yeah.
That's another Hull spot. Completely forgotten what I was saying.
You were telling us about
You're
what
pushing
some,
shoulders.
Oh, yeah,
what,
right, so-
what smutty businesses any celebrity chefs anyone been up to?
Oh, smutty. So all that to say, I used to interview loads of people, but I didn't really know who they were necessarily.
Yes.
So I had to catch up with that.
Ketchup. So it's just chef.
More chef.
Yeah.
More chef buns.
I can think of any more as we go. I'm
But
poised.
yeah, I used to deal with a lot of them. The best one was, I used to love Woody Harrelson when I was a teenager. I was like obsessed with Woody Harrelson.
Famous chef.
The most famous,
Also
actually,
owns a strip club in Hull, in Canada.
is a raw chef, raw food chef, you know?
Is
used
he?
to- yeah, well, he was like a vegan.
That's not.
Was that because he
that's
just
not being
ate
a
raw
chef, though,
food?
is it?
It's because he was a celebrity that had time and money and he learned from great people.
If anything,
but
it
that's
makes
not-
you so much less of a chef because you don't have to cook it because it's raw.
Anyway, that was a good, meeting him was a good one.
So
Because
why
that
did
was
you meet
like,
him?
of all the,
What
well,
was
he
he-
had,
In Cambridge.
in Cambridge, he was doing like a 6-city premiere for this Lost in London film that he'd done in England. And anyway, yeah, they were like, do you want to do a phone interview or in person? And I was like,
Obviously.
I'm
Yeah.
going to meet him in person, thanks, yeah. So
Is there any evidence of this?
there's lots of evidence, yeah.
Okay.
There's video evidence and audio evidence. And
Because it's radio.
he gave me a tight 20. It was good. It was very good.
What's a tight 20?
Well, like a 20-minute interview.
Oh, right. I thought it was like, he'd give you 20 pounds. I was like, why is he paying you?
And he'd folded it so tight. It was like almost not there. It was so tight.
And this is
that's,
radio talk,
that's
and
for
it's
your
tight
time.
20.
That's for your time. Thanks. That's my take.
There was no payment exchange.
That's good to know. That's kind of what I found quite alarming.
But I also took
Instantly.
out, on food terms, Joanna Scanlon. I took her out on
Ah.
it, essentially a date on Valentine's Day.
Just you and her?
No, it was me, her, and her husband, while my husband was at home. So,
So you were third wheeling?
no,
Oh, the
it was a
husband
threesome.
was-
It was just a threesome, so it was fine.
Worst things to do on Valentine's Day.
Because we had to reschedule her interview. And
So you did the interview whilst you were having dinner?
it was like it was like this full day thing. And so I walked her around and had to show her some places and stuff. And then I took her out for dinner.
You've picked Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, the first in the trilogy of Austin Powers films.
Yeah.
That's right.
Why this film?
Well, I would have loved to pick Silence of the Lambs. I'll tell you that. But 2 guys already chose that, so and did it pretty justice.
Trailblazers, aren't we?
Did it
Did you have a good
justice.
thingy for Silence of the Lambs, though?
No, I had no thingy. I just like to talk about it. I could can find
You
a
just wanna
thingy, I'm
review it,
sure.
yeah.
Okay, if
It's
we've got
all
time.
skin, isn't it?
If we've got time at the end, so much skin. If there's
Skin in
time
the
at the so much skin Buffalo Bill's got in his game.
Solid.
Double pun because the Buffalo Bills are
A team in America, I think so.
sort
The
of
Buffalo Bills.
almost a segue in.
That's North
Is that a
American.
pun?
No.
No, Austin Powers isn't a pun.
So it's such a good film that makes me feel joyous. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
not.
It's also representing a Canadian, so
Yeah.
you got a Mike Myers.
So was it like a favourite of yours growing up?
I just have really fond memories of, and I have fond memories of a friend of mine constantly like doing the impersonations to death. You know, at the time because
We're all in the same sort of age bracket, aren't we? So I think Matt looks older than he is.
His
definitely.
years.
But
It's all the killing that I do.
it's still done it on one's conscious.
Yeah, it does.
Um,
Heavy on the soul.
We all grew up with the whole trilogy, I think, didn't we? So I think even if you didn't actively to watch it at the cinema, it was on TV and it was everywhere, so it was hard to miss.
It's
To be
also the
Mike
references
Myers
now.
in general in the 90s
Yeah.
and early 90s was hard to
He was
dodge, wasn't
everywhere.
he? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's that kind of like you don't even realize that you're saying things and it's all from that movie, and then watching it again
Yeah.
because now you know I was like, okay, I'll come on your show, guys, and then
I mean, you asked us, but
but then no, you watched the
We can release all the text, can't we, that she sent?
yeah,
well,
we're just
pleading,
yeah.
desperate, fantastic,
Yeah.
and then
I
so
got
not
sacked from BBC. This is my time to shine again.
I did not.
Did you get sacked?
Oh, they would bloody love me.
Someone told us.
Is that the rumor?
Yeah,
the rumor on
Woody-
the street.
Woody
Woody.
that tight 20 was like,
That was his way
He
of
betrayed
firing
me.
you from a show
yeah,
that
she
he
Never.
didn't
took
run.
£20 off me, and you're not. allowed
He
to
would
do that.
never say such a thing about me.
He sets people up. He gives them bribes.
But it takes ages rolling it up as well.
He gives them bribes.
time.
They think it's just a piece of paper because it's so tight. That's so tight, buddy.
Please don't say that's so tight, Woody.
What was I talking
Right,
about?
fucking hell, yeah.
Austin Powers.
So why have you showed us this film, Marissa?
It's a great film.
I agree. It is a
So
good
much comedic joy.
We've done this bit.
film. Yeah.
Cut back into. You rewatched it recently, though.
Oh
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
podcast.
So I rewatched it, the first one, and then I was like, but then you have to watch the second one, and then
Yeah.
why not watch the third? And it's all like, you know what I mean? Obviously, some of it's questionable looking back now, but
Yes, I agree.
it is joyful and full of like,
It's silly.
There's
A lot of
nothing-
nostalgia.
It's well written.
yeah, it's very clever. I mean, it was very like avant-garde at the time, but then
I think you can also see how cheaply made it probably was at the time.
except for the star power.
You mean the foil suits? that
Yeah,
all
a lot
wear-
of the sets and stuff. Are like, as a kid, I never really realised how
Yeah.
cheap it must have been, but watching it back recently, you do.
Well, maybe
notice.
it's
But-
done like an SNL sketch. You know what I mean?
an
Like that
extended
kind of.
SNL
Well, that was
sketch.
where it started, right? On SNL?
Yeah, he was.
Myers.
Was he Second City or SNL? He was definitely SNL as well. For sure.
Yeah, I remember because he used to do Wayne's World.
Yeah,
as
well,
well
Wayne-
as-
exactly.
before the films, didn't he? But actually, I don't think I appreciated until we watched it back, ready for this episode, like how I'm not necessarily saying they're all really funny, but how many jokes there are. Like when
It
you're
is
talking
joke,
about
joke,
comedy
joke,
writing, there's a joke every other line, whether it's a visual gag
Yeah.
or a verbal gag or a callback or whatever it might be. It's just crammed full of like funny, isn't it? to
And
be fair?
he wrote it. Mike Myers wrote it. But
Yeah,
it
he did.
was a big old chunk was improvised as well as I was understanding.
Yeah, I think there was loads of same idea. Like
Comes
sketch.
across when you watch it. You can see that he's just having fun with the characters.
But then if you look at all the characters in there, they're all that kind of like sketch comedy background, aren't they?
Jim Carrey was the original choice for Dr. Evil as well.
Was he?
Was he?
Yeah, but he couldn't do it.
And if it's not him, it'll be me.
That was kind of the attitude.
I think it would lose the comedic effect because the reveal of Dr. Evil that it's Mike Myers
Yeah, I
is
agree.
solid.
In the first shot, it's clearly not Mike Myers when he shoots at the assassin or whatever it is with the dart.
Yeah.
And then they only pan when he freezes himself. They
When
cut
he's
him
in
at the
pit
yeah.
and there's all
It's
the
all
mist.
smoke
It's
and
like
stuff,
chest down.
Yeah.
But I think also
you want?
his I was listening to him and he said basically he was listening to some Burt Bacharach song in the car.
Yes.
And then he was thinking of his dad because his dad had passed away and he was like, where did all the swingers go? Or something. And that was
And
the
that's how it
premise.
came
And
up?
that's how he
Oh,
came up
right.
with and then obviously like a nod to all the things that his dad
And then
introduced him
Burt
to.
Bacharach's just in it.
Constantly in it.
Yeah.
And Elvis Costello? That's the second
Is that
one.
the second
maybe.
one? Yeah.
Let's focus on the first. I have some quick fire questions for you both, if you're ready for them.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Cool.
So ready.
Okay, I I will direct my first question at just one of you, if that's okay. Normally, I would suggest that we maybe say the guest goes first, but John, I think this is probably an easy one for you.
Fuck off. Yeah, go on. I know what it's going to be. Go on.
I'll start you off easy.
I can smash this one, actually, I think.
John, plot in 10 words.
Spy goes...
So I'll
confident.
Smash it. Spy goes.
Spy freezes himself, goes into future to stop evil nemesis.
Baby.
Done it in 9.
Yeah, there's definitely wasted words in there, though.
I did it in 9. I've got 10. I did it in 9. I had some to spare. Why? That's the best one I've done yet. Surely.
Okay. Can you top that, Marissa? Or...
Let me think. Okay, wait.
No, there's no time to think.
She's
on Facebook.
It's quick.
She's so bored.
It's quick
She's just
fire.
scrolling on her phone.
Favorite quote.
Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
And which character was that?
I think that was Austin Powers in the final scene, right?
Absolutely.
Final scene when
Random task.
Random task.
They're such good names.
Random task throws this shoe, yeah, and he's coming to assassin. It's like pretending to bring him some room service. I think.
And then
Yes.
he lifts the
Cloche.
yes. Oh, he's fancy.
We're not going to talk about the other 2 films much, but there is some nice callbacks to it
There
as
is
well in the
callbacks.
future
It's like
films.
king of-
There's a lot of good callbacks right throughout.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And then they poke fun of themselves doing callbacks and like same gag.
Prips.
Allow myself to introduce
That's my favourite.
myself.
That's my favourite quote,
That's
probably
a
of
very good one.
any film.
Is it really?
It's such a funny
wonderful.
line. Please allow myself to. It's the look on his face when he catches
He
himself.
realizes.
He's got stuck.
And the delivery.
Myself. You got one. You're chomping at the bit to give us yours.
There's quite a few. Most of mine are Dr. Evils, I think.
Yeah.
Look what you did to Mr. Bigglesworth. That's my favourite one.
The I also really like the therapy scene, which has a surprise cameo from Carrie
that's
Fisher.
Excellent. Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Carrie
that is
Fisher
good.
was
Yeah.
the
The whole monologue.
and the whole monologue when he's talking about his dad and how he claims like he invented the question mark.
Question mark.
And he would accuse chestnuts of being lazy. It's really good. I suggest you try it. I feel like I know the answer to this one, but favourite character?
A lot of vagina.
That's your favourite character. You just wanted to
She
say
just did
it.
it for the gags, didn't she?
Right.
Now she's in the room.
Yeah.
She's
Just
here.
dramatic-
Yeah,
all right,
now
all
she's
right.
in the
I'm woken
room.
up. There's
Yeah.
coffee and things. I mean, there's too many good ones. Dr. Evil, I think.
I think Dr. Evil's mine, actually. Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, I can't argue with that. He's a really, really good character. Although I do like Austin Powers. I think Austin Powers is a really good character.
Yeah.
Who does number 2 work for? I also really like Christian Slater's cameo as well.
Orange sherbet. It's when he
I
actually...
brought you your
Yeah, yeah.
orange sherbet.
It's actually when you forget all about it because it's like sort of the climax of the film, and then when they're escaping the building, he then brings him the sherbet on the way out.
Do you know
So
what I do
good.
love, though, is Frau Farbissima. I think she needs more to be talked about.
I think she
Yes,
gets better in the
the second one.
later
Yeah.
films.
Yeah.
There's also some really good. I won't go on too much, but there's some really good visual gags as well. The scene where they're on the steamroller and the guy's 100 meters.
You'll be get out of the way. Move, get out of the way.
And they cut to his friends.
John Smith in it. It's
John-
Rob Lowe and his friends in the
I never remember that from the original. And
Me
I was like,
neither.
do you think they added it in later?
Yeah.
Or something? But it was like,
I did
all the
read
families
that some
affected.
of the clips were only, some of the cutaways are only shown in certain versions of the film.
Oh.
So the UK
Yes, I
version
don't
has
remember
more
this.
bits in it
Right.
than the US version, as far as I know. So that might be where you don't remember it. Maybe.
And then it's Rob Lowe. and
Rob
then
Lowe and John
He's
Smith.
playing the stag do guy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, we love, you know.
And is this the John Smith party?
Oh, no.
I'll take the call.
He's been run over by a
Yeah.
seal or whatever. Or like eaten by, no, it's the sharks. It's the
Yeah.
sharks.
It's
not
like
sharks.
mutated sea bear.
Yes,
See,
we
but
have,
mute
that's
it.
right.
Yeah, we don't have sharks.
to Smitty. We've done it already, perhaps, but quick Dr. Evil impression.
$1 million.
It's just so bad. Please do it without trying to do an impression. Just do it in your own voice.
No, I won't.
I refuse.
Mr. Bigglesworth. Wait, all right. You do it. I'll warm up.
$1 million. I can't do it either.
I need to think of a line. Feed me a line.
Okay.
That isn't that one.
Frickin' freezing.
Throw me a frickin' bone here.
I've been frozen for 30 freaking years. Yeah, we're not good. We've finally found one that you can't do.
I think you just need to.
I thought that was my best one yet.
No, I'm not sure that was
Not as good as
that
my
one.
Buffalo Bill one, is it?
To be fair, a Canadian can't do it.
Yeah. We've got no hope, have we?
Yeah.
Throw me a frickin' bone here.
That was better.
That was good.
There we go.
Yeah.
See?
Good one, John.
Really quickly, can you just say the word garage for me?
The garage.
Why was it so aggressive?
That's just how she says it, apparently. Found that out earlier on.
It's because I say garage. I can't say garage. It sounds absurd to me.
Garage.
Scott!
I am Frau Farbissima.
Can you do
No.
an Austin Powers impression though?
Groovy, baby. Yeah.
It's his eyes. It is like...
Very shagadelic. No, I can't. That's the answer.
Would you voluntarily freeze yourself to help stop your own evil nemesis 30 years in the future?
No.
There you go. There you have it.
So you would just let him... You just let
Because
the thing is as well with
on the
this,
future.
you're gonna presuming, let's say Austin Powers or Marissa in this situation is in her 30s or he's in his 30s, you're still gonna meet him in your lifetime probably, because he's just gonna come back in 30 years, but you're just gonna be much older and less equipped to deal with him.
Yeah, you're going to be much less like able-bodied. You might have
virile.
You might. Would you? So what you're saying then, John? What John is saying is what you're saying is you would rather face your nemesis in their prime, but in your twilight years.
I'm on the verge of retirement. Now I'm going to fight my nemesis.
Yeah. I think I find the whole freezing thing very questionable. I don't know what you'd turn into and come back as. So I think
you just come back as yourself. You don't
mutate
or anything.
You can't be a cat or something. Like, it's not how it works.
What would yours be then?
What would
mine
be?
What animal?
What's your choice?
I think you should repeat the question, Matt.
Right. Sorry, let me repeat the question. If you could freeze yourself, which animal would you become during the freezing process?
Panther.
I'd become
Easy.
myself in 30 years time.
So you skip 30 years, but you're also aged 30 years. So you've lost 30 years of your life, but you've still aged.
Oh, it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I mean, I was speaking for Marissa then, but sure. Yeah.
No, it's your choice.
I wouldn't do it either.
Thank you.
Because I'm all about living in the present.
Seize the moment.
So present.
And the swinging.
But the thing about
swinging
Austin
60s
Powers is he has no like attachment. So he's got no family, and so he's kind of able to do that.
Okay, so I'll rephrase the question. You've got no commitments, no family, no nothing. Would you do it then?
No.
Okay, well, this follow-up question is hypothetical now then, because we're not going to be freezing you. If we did freeze you now...
In this terrifying future.
What would you expect from the world in 2050?
A terrifying future. The movie Idiocracy.
Oh, you think that's prophetic?
I think potentially.
Yeah,
everyone's drinking Gatorade and...
Is that it? Everyone's drinking Gatorade.
Water is...
Nothing's changed.
Non-existent. Garbage piles everywhere. So then I'm here to help that won't happen.
Yeah.
Doing the good now, the good work.
You can hopefully do better, because the plot of that film is that an idiot is sent to the future, but he's the smartest man alive, effectively, isn't he? That's kind of, but you're not an idiot, I would
That's
say.
another lesson. Thank you. High praise.
Segue into the thingy?
Yeah, segue into the thingy. So you brought the film.
I brought the film.
And you brought the thingy.
And you have
brought the thingy, yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, so I feel like this is one of those films where there was loads of thingies potentially, because it kind of is loads of, it's like questionable and gags and makes fun of itself. So there's, loads of non sequiturs and definitely loads of, what are they called when they're, what's it called? Yeah, definitely. Loads of plot holes. Well, that's not about, we're not about that.
We do. We
get to say what the plot holes are.
Do you know what else I really liked? What are they called? Why am I losing all my words? When you smash cut and the thing's gone. Continuity errors.
Oh, yeah.
There's loads of continuity errors, which I think, again, they're trying to be...
There's a fantastic one, which I think is obviously intentional, but the
man,
at the beginning is a woman at first, and it's clear just
it's a man. But then he calls back and does it again with Basil's mum, and it's a woman.
Yes.
A classic scene.
Punishes Puzzle Expeditions.
Basil Expedition, which is such a good name. It's so clever.
And then he just
so
calls him
stupid.
Expedition
Yeah.
for loads of it. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, what's he say? Oh, yeah. Basil,
But
though.
the thingy.
The thingy, yes. So I think for me, I couldn't really get over. I just kept coming back to this one where it was, I don't understand why he would freeze himself. Like, I don't see
So
the reality in any world where he is this like man about town, sex with everyone, having a great time, swinging 60s that he loves.
you're talking about why Austin Powers would freeze himself?
Yes.
Right.
Why? Yeah. I mean, I get Dr. Evil.
Do you?
I
'Cause don't.
suppose.
That was my thing. Why does Dr. Evil freeze himself? Sorry.
He runs off to escape. You know, that kind of I can get behind. Austin,
Just for space.
Because-
to space.
To space.
but that's perfect, like diabolical genius. That works, I think. Austin is just having a great time, successful spy. Everyone knows him. Everyone loves him. Why? You would sacrifice yourself because Dr. Evil might come back one day? Present time, no way. I don't, no chance.
So we're suggesting that he's not as selfless, perhaps, as he makes out.
I am definitely.
What, so you think he has an ulterior motive for freezing himself?
I just cannot understand why on earth he would do this.
So
I can't get behind it.
what's he running from then?
Well, this is the question.
Or
There's only
to-
one.
or
there's only-
Unless-
there's only one reason you'd leave the present.
Present day
Yeah, that's to be running from something, right?
to run into this
Into the
future.
future. Yeah, I mean, he might catch up with you in 30 years' time. He doesn't know when he's getting unfrozen, though, does
This
he?
is true,
I
yeah.
like that he's frozen in his glasses.
That's great when the
Askew.
sock is like, yeah,
Well,
irresistible to women.
this
And
is-
it's just like,
This is Austin Danger Powers. This is my issue. This is my thingy.
Okay.
It's more minor than yours, which is when it's a good gag, and when he gets defrosted, and then he goes,
Urinating for 20 minutes.
How is that? Where's the water?
where's the
come from?
water come from? Yeah.
This one drove my husband crazy. He was like, why? How? No.
It is purely there for gag, isn't it?
It's just
Really.
a gag, but in universe, what's the explanation? Because he might have had a drink
Did the
beforehand.
ice...
Couldn't we maybe think about, is there has he got some sort of prostate issue and that's what he's going into the future for? Is that why?
to solve the prostate issue.
Or maybe he's
waiting
just-
for
may-
medical
I
advancements.
mean, maybe he knows that he's got an issue, like a lot of males do. Typically speaking, is they'll just ignore there's an issue for quite some time until it becomes a bigger issue.
Freeze himself for 30
Freeze him,
years.
so I'm going to freeze myself because then I can't die.
Instead of
cancer.
talking about my feelings and going to a doctor,
Exactly.
I'm going to
It's-
freeze myself.
I'm going to freeze myself.
So he's got potentially, without getting too deep, mental health issues, which manifest in him having to urinate for long periods of time.
And he references that he also takes psychedelic drugs in the film,
Yep.
so that could be
And he's probably got a
Famous.
number of STDs, as
STDs.
well.
Yeah,
So that's all manifested
Naturally.
as...
yeah.
It's good. It's like he's in the room. Manifesting as this urination problem, and he decides the best option is not to face any of that and go into the future. So is that what we're very quickly establishing as the
Seems a
possible
bit clean
explanation?
cut, doesn't it?
There's no demons. There's no.
I know, but
there's no
can
clones. What's
I'd
going-
like to raise. It's kind of basically mirrors your thingy, but for the other character.
Okay.
So for me, the entire first opening 5 minutes, the setup of the film doesn't make sense.
If you objectively view it.
There's two things. First of all, why would Dr. Evil even set a trap for him when he could just, if his plan was to travel into the future and freeze himself, he should have just done it and not laid a trap for Austin Powers to even try and stop him.
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting.
And then rather than shooting the assassin that Austin Powers is fighting, he could have just...
The man.
Austin Powers... Yeah, the man.
Man.
Austin Powers wasn't looking. He could have just shot Austin Powers then as well.
Intriguing.
So my thinking is that it's like you see very typically in these sorts of films where there's a hero, like Sherlock and Moriarty, where they kind of enjoy it a little bit and they kind of need each other to sort of coexist. So whoever's decided to make that first leap into space, so to be frozen, I suppose what I'm asking is, have they both done that to follow, has one done that to follow the other, or have they both been frozen themselves for completely different reasons, coincidentally, and then ended up waking up in 30 years' time?
Well, to tie it back to science, which I think this is well rooted in, obviously.
Yeah, we are pretty science heavy in this.
Yeah.
we haven't called the biologist for a while, but it could be an opportunity.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure she's available tonight.
At this hour,
Leave her a voicemail.
Because I know she's not available tonight.
my query about this is they are, in fact, brothers.
Is that your theory?
No, they are brothers if you watch all the trilogy.
Oh, sorry,
right?
yeah, but we don't know that at this point.
Well, so spoiler alert. Sorry. But for your listeners.
So you're breaking the rules by introducing storylines from subsequent films.
Okay, but this is important because
if you say
like twins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to change these rules things.
Yeah, I forgot this was an audition to get you back on the radio.
This is a bit of a takeover.
Welcome to BBC Ticton.
You're being held hostage now. So, like twins separated at birth, maybe one can't. They coexist because they cannot exist
They're
independently.
mentally connected.
Yeah.
A dyad.
So for one, like if one freezes, so does the other.
So he just
instantly.
frozen.
Yeah,
he
he ice cubed immediately next to Vanilla Ice and Evil Knievel in the Institute somehow in London. I don't know why, inexplicably.
He was just on a tour of the cryogenic facility and he just happened to freeze while he was in there?
No, he froze on a London sightseeing bus and then they wheeled him into the facility. Glasses frozen.
Maybe actually the way it's frozen, it might have been hit by a bus actually head on.
And he is constantly naked and with his pelt-like fur.
His furry chest.
Visible, yeah. How do you like animal?
I mean, yeah, if I was going to get run over by a bus, I'd definitely want to be naked when it happened. Why is he naked?
Well, Austin seems to always be naked, all the gags.
They're all naked, though, aren't they?
Who?
In the cryogenic chambers.
That's what Vanilla Ice, Evil Knievel, Gary
Evil
Oldman.
Knievel's not. Evil Knievel's wearing his clothes. And so is,
So it's just Austin
Just
Powers that's
Austin.
naked.
No, I think Vanilla Ice might be naked. It's just him and Vanilla. Okay, here we go. So
He's got it.
it's
Tie it up.
is it Gary Coleman?
I think so.
Gary Oldman.
I said Gary Oldman, the fantastic actor,
he was
present
naked,
day.
got hit by a bus.
He is dressed.
I suppose he's a
Evil
quick
Knievel
pan.
is dressed.
Nobody knows.
Vanilla Ice is nude. Austin Powers is nude.
Fully nude.
So two of these
2 of 4.
things are not like the others.
Interesting.
So why are those two nude and the other two not? And does that influence the freezing process in any way?
To allow for maximum urination later.
Also, Vanilla Ice isn't from the 60s.
Well, no,
He was
he's from the
90s,
90s.
isn't he, right? Yeah.
So he'd frozen himself recently.
Present day freezing in the film setting.
Order
Or was his fame on the decline, so he just froze himself and thought
in
it's
case
a
there's
callback for
I'll
later?
resurgence.
do a
Yeah.
30-year anniversary
When I'm retro.
single. Yeah. I'll release.
Vintage.
It's nothing to do with that him being Ice Ice Baby. It's literally because he wanted to be frozen.
No, that's too obvious a gag
Yeah, too obvious. Yeah.
for Mike Myers.
And
Too
the,
easy.
and the other two, I mean, Evil Knievel was alive in real life during that time, but in university that he'd frozen himself.
Yeah.
Why was that?
Wasn't he? I don't know him. He's for
Stuntman.
Stuntman, but I don't know his like oeuvre of activity.
He wasn't on BBC Radio Cambridge with you. Okay.
I like the assortment in the facility, though. I don't know where this leads to.
But do you obviously don't need to be nude to be frozen.
No, as far as I'm aware.
I think probably you do.
Do you?
Yeah, I imagine as you're born, you freeze. I think that's the science of it. You don't want khakis and
As
a
you're
polo
that
shirt,
was
do you?
Poetic, and I just need to take a moment to. As you are born, you freeze.
Yeah.
Is that a haiku?
So you're saying when you're born as a baby, you come out the womb and freeze?
No. It's as one is born, they freeze.
So too are they frozen?
Exactly, yeah. Upon entering the world,
Yeah.
is as you are frozen.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Are you getting it? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's well established that you must be frozen as you were born. I think that's what we're trying to say. But Marissa just said it a lot more poetically than you couldn't fathom.
Yeah. So you need to stick to one syllable words.
Just I'll grunt
Possibly a
from now
2.
on.
Frozen as born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right then. This
It's
bloody freezing business.
It's a tough one. But you want to go down they're twins route. Are they twins? They're not identical twins. Well,
I mean, we don't know the
technically.
full story, do we? Because of this. Well, I don't want to keep mentioning further films
Well, I think we
and
have to.
betraying the rules.
I think we're too deep into it. I think we'll have to make an exception for this episode.
Isn't it that
but you will not be allowed back.
I think that's evident, no?
One thing I noticed actually when watching it back, and I know that they play on it because it's the swinging 60s and all that, but actually how almost forcefully is.
Yeah.
Definitely verbally about trying to have sex with her.
Overt sexuality.
Yeah, or constantly, and like getting her to sit on the bed and all this. And I know that they're making a joke out of it, but actually it happens a lot more than I remember. But then obviously they turn it around, because then when she gets drunk and decides she wants to kiss him, he then gets a moral compass out of, or presumably the moral compass that was always there, but you just haven't had the time to see it until that point in the film.
So he redeems himself. You see that he's kind of a good guy.
Well, I think that's what they do to make it okay for them to say the things they say earlier on in the film, if that makes sense. So I think it is
Like you're objectifying women, but not too much.
Yeah, basically, we can do it within reason.
It is. We'll give it its credit. It is a 25-year-old film as well.
It is hard
it's a product
to-
of its time,
Yeah.
and we're seeing it through the lenses of 2020.
Because that's the thing, like, so, the watching it back and you're like, ooh, some of these are pretty cringy, but also.
Yeah, let's just. I'm kind of lost to where we're actually at now because of all that.
We haven't established anything at all.
So have we established which thingy we're using?
Yeah.
And we've established that, right? So we're
using Marissa's thingy because it's her episode.
Yeah,
but
I was just a bit
but
lost.
you've added the layer on of Dr. Evil. We can hone in just on why did.
I mean, I have another thingy if you want to talk about.
I'm
I've
not
also
sure
some
we can
things.
handle that.
I've got loads of thingies.
More fuel
if
to
you're
the
not
fire. Let's
happy
go.
with this particular,
No,
No,
go
it's
for
not
it.
that we're not happy.
No,
we just
we're
need to
just
work our way through it. That's
A little
all.
unhappy. Just speak for yourself.
see your way through.
Okay, so
So,
go on, Matt.
then I had nothing. Marissa's
Should we
doing
just keep
this.
saying Johnson and flying wiener?
Those are very good, actually.
And I like
Very
that. I
well
like
done.
that there's
and
callbacks throughout.
We're doing the second one again, is that right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So, why has he frozen himself when Doctor Strange...
Dr. Strangelove.
Right, I've got it.
5 million futures.
Doctor Strange did that.
Reversed his
Through.
car.
Squeaky chairs.
He reversed his car.
So he takes himself... Doctor's evil. Takes himself...
Doctor's evil.
Doctor's... Fuck me. Can't even say it.
spend
I
5
keep
years
saying
in-
Doctor Strange.
Go to
6
medical
years
school.
in medical school. That's another one.
To be
When
called
did he do this?
Mr. Evil.
So he goes in time, into space, and subsequently in time, sorry. Austin Powers, why does he go? He gets frozen. So did we say he got hit by a bus?
No, we said he was on a London tour bus and
Okay.
then perhaps was
How
just...
do we know that?
No,
You
I'm
say-
just
I'm
riffing.
asking.
He didn't go to the facility. He
John,
could have just
John
been...
this is what we do on the podcast.
Yeah, no, I was trying to go a
get
level
there?
deeper as to why was he there, that's all. It was a genuine question.
He just seems like he's a man about town, having
Okay,
a
so
good
he was on a
time.
bus, he got, what happened?
Burt Bacharach's there, of
Okay.
course, naturally.
And he just froze.
Immediately, instantaneous
Okay.
freezing because his
Okay.
brother, said twin from
Who froze sometime before? Because he's freezing as he's going into space.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
sort
he
of slowly freezing, isn't he?
So as Austin's body realizes his
He's
twin is no
also-
longer in the same plane of existence, he instantaneously freezes on the Burt Bacharach tour bus.
He's not,
Bacharach bus.
can I just backtrack? He's not in the same plane of existence. Have you just...
Well, he's frozen now in a different
Right.
state of being.
What does Burt Bacharach?
It's hard to
So
say.
what does Burt Bacharach do? Because
He sings.
Piano too?
So he's on the bus.
Do you know what? I'm just playing the scene, aren't I? When Vanessa and Austin are on the date on the
No, but that
tour
makes
bus.
sense because it's clear that he likes doing that. He likes
Yeah.
Burt Bacharach there.
Yeah.
But is Burt Bacharach
So
there in the 60s?
has he done that
and
with,
90s?
with another
artist?
companion, perhaps?
Probably.
He's
He's a
another
man
girl.
about town.
That's his
Might have
move.
been with
Yeah.
Vanessa's
Okay.
mum.
Groovy,
Might have
baby.
been with Vanessa's mum.
Probably-
Mrs. Kensington.
Mrs. Kensington.
Not Ms. Kensington.
Yes.
But-
Vanessa.
Or anybody. Easy.
Calm down. Anybody will do. A lot of vagina.
Yeah.
Felicity Shagwell.
Yeah.
Ivana
Beyonce.
Humpalot.
Yeah.
She called Beyonce in it.
What is she called?
Oh, what's she? Beyonce, you know.
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
She's called Beyonce.
And I'm a
not
whole
Beyonce.
lot, isn't that her?
I don't know.
And I'm
I
a
know-
whole lot
I know
of
Ivana
women.
Humpalot.
Yeah.
So they're all there.
Everyone.
What's her name, though?
Yeah, that's
Because
annoying, isn't
that's
it?
not what I
And there's
think
2
about.
good ones in the last.
So they're all there on the bus with Burt Bacharach. So how right
And Elvis Costello.
and Elvis Costello. So they're all there having like it's a party bus, isn't it?
It's a
Effectively,
swingers.
yeah.
It's a swingers
So they're
bus.
all
In
there.
the way he's gone out the way he would
So
be proud to
actually-
do.
So he
Have-
knows he's freezing as this happens.
Maybe this is a last
this
hurrah.
is a send off, right?
But this is
okay.
interesting because
But he doesn't know why.
You've got-
because he doesn't know about Doctor.
you've got Heather Graham's character who's in the 60s,
Felicity.
who's there.
Yeah.
But then
Why
you've
is
got-
she there? Sorry.
I don't know why they're all there. Who knows? But they're all there, Matt.
Okay, so he doesn't know her, even though he meets her for the first time. And
Yeah.
Precisely.
But
Go with it.
Beyonce's there from the future as well. So
the character or the actor.
the actress, sorry, the
I will
character
find her
that we
name
can't
if I don't
remember
get
the name
bullied
of.
for Foxy Cleopatra and I'm a
Foxy
whole lot of women.
Cleopatra. Okay, so Foxy Cleopatra's there. You're saying as well. So they're all there.
Yeah.
They're all on the party bus with Elvis Costello and Burt Bacharach.
Having a grand time.
My question is, it's not really a question. It's more of an observation. Is some of them are from the future, some of them are from present day,
Okay.
who we don't meet till later down the line
Yeah.
in the other films, because you've broken all the film thing. The only film thingy law that we have is to keep it within one film.
Not interested in that.
I'm not interested in
No.
playing by the rules.
I want to talk
So
about
now
we're going
we're going
lawless. We're going lawless today. Aren't we?
Yeah,
Or
we're going
walrus.
style.
We're winking walruses today, aren't we, all of us? So, question is that I have
Just the one
to
question.
the room,
The Chino, if you
and yeah,
Chino's got thoughts, I'm sure.
Chino's probably going to solve this because someone
we're
needs
drowning
to.
over him.
Yeah, we're off the rails, Matt. Is when Doctor Strange is going out of the atmosphere and
Doctor Strange.
oh god, I've done it again. Right, so Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange love.
Right, so we've got Austin Powers.
Do you want
Elvis
Doctor Strange
Costello,
to be in the thing? Is that
Burt Bacharach.
Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange is there.
Well, that explains the time because he's moved them all backwards and
Yeah,
forwards in time.
okay.
Oh,
So-
well, then you've sort of
Fine,
solved it,
solved.
maybe. That might be the
But
answer.
he isn't going into space. That's
No.
Doctor Evil.
Doctor Evil goes into space. He's freezing. Austin Powers.
He's
freezing.
freaking cold.
He's fucking cold.
freezing.
So the
And he
freezing
starts
process
with-
takes some time. It's not
Yes.
instantaneous.
Yeah, so it's happening as he's leaving the atmosphere.
Yeah,
let's say, 'cause
agreed.
It's already happening when he gets in
Because
the
Mr.
thing, right?
Bigglesworth, you can see. You know,
Yes.
takes
Mr.
effect
Bigglesworth.
first.
Austin Powers on the party bus with the gang.
Yeah.
He starts freezing
Everybody's here.
at the same time.
I guess,
presumably,
yeah. Huge block of ice.
Without knowing it. So, does that mean that the people that have left their timeline also start freezing? Because how have they got on this? How has Foxy Cleopatra from the future got on this party bus in the 60s?
It's a great question.
I know.
I think it has to be a yes. I think that's right.
So how are they all? How are some of them freezing? But some,
As
'cause
he's
Heather
touching them.
who?
Austin.
So he's connecting to Doctor Strange. He's freezing them because purely through touch, but he's the only one that is actually freezing.
Freaking freezing.
Only those people who are from the future get touched, and then they get
I feel like
go
it's
straight
anyone.
back to where they
I think
should
it's like
be.
anyone leaving a potential timeline is freezing. Heather Graham doesn't freeze because
So
she's.
are we talking about Doctor Strange incursions right now? So it's a crossover.
I don't know. Probably.
Does Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, exist within the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
That's the real question here.
Yeah.
That's what you're
I
saying.
reckon so. Yeah. Doctor Strange of the Marvel Cinematic Universe can come into the Austin Powers universe that was created minimum 8 years before. This is how we do it.
So
Johnson. That's a flying.
it's another card. So
Bring it home.
I will, but
He's good at this. Is what he's good at.
so Doctor Evil goes into the future. He freezes himself to go into the future to fulfill his evil plans.
Of course, yes.
That is
The greater good for him.
set
The
set
greater
in stone.
evil.
Austin Powers does not intentionally go into the future, but because he's twinned,
Yeah. Twinning.
he freezes
Yeah.
effectively while he's on some sort of
From the toes up.
party
And he's
bus.
gutted because he's on a really good
He's on a really
bus.
good party
This is the thing,
bus.
yeah.
He's
Not
fuming.
selflessly.
There's future people there. There's a wizard there, and
We've got Elvis Costello and Burt Bacharach doing some
all
kind
different
of mad
times
Medley.
duo.
and stuff. He's naked, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Clothes come straight off.
And that's why he's like,
Doctor
because
Strange
he's already.
has noticed the ongoing shenanigans from the series of films because they're messing with
Time, of course.
So he visits Austin Powers in the 60s on the party bus and ensures that he brings a load of people from the future to him
because it's a
Like
party.
Foxy Cleopatra.
just for the part. Just for
Yeah.
because
It's a good party.
He goes,
a guy dressed as
In
a wizard,
any
a
decade.
guy dressed as a wizard isn't going to get accepted on the party bus. So he brings a few extras with him
And he goes,
to sweeten the deal.
he knows he's going to get frozen, so this is his unofficial send-off, isn't it?
So
You bring the good time people,
he's
don't
brought,
you?
Yeah.
He's brought
The party people.
Foxy Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Who else has he brought?
Felicity Shagwell.
Felicity Shagwell. She's from the present day.
Present day in...
But not met yet. So he just goes and gets her
so
from around the corner.
he brings Foxy Cleopatra from the future
Yeah.
back to 60s.
60s.
And then when he's in the 60s, he goes, this isn't enough now. I
I'm
need
just
to
going to go
find
around the
somebody
corner
else."
and find Heather Graham.
Right, and bring her in.
Yeah.
That'll do. I'll get into the party.
Okay. Yeah.
So, no,
I was going to say a lot
of
of vagina. Is she turning up? I don't know. Is she in the mix?
From the future as well. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
brings her.
Yeah.
And then Austin Powers freezes some of the people with him. Who
Vanilla
also
Ice.
get sent,
Vanilla Ice.
brought
Vanilla
Vanilla
Ice.
Ice.
Bert Bacharach.
He's brought Vanilla
Elvis
Ice.
Costello. They're
whole-
jamming
everyone's
this
there.
new single.
Brought
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice back because he's popular. In
So
the
it's musical
90s.
talent is what he's also kind of
and
after.
he goes, I don't think the 90s are ready for this type of music. Freeze me.
Yeah.
He sees Austin freezing and he just grabs him so he can go into the
Call me
the
back
90s
later.
As well.
He says, I don't think the 90s are ready for this song.
Even though it's the 60s.
Vanilla
Mind boggles.
Yeah, but he's been brought back from the 90s
He's
to
been
the
brought back
60s.
from
Yeah,
the-
So
I'm
Vanilla
with you.
Ice is at the peak of fame. Ice Ice Baby is all of, but it starts to dwindle.
He's
and,
becoming a
and he
joke.
goes,
He
"Take me to
sees
the
it.
and a
60s."
wizard comes and says, "I need a party guy. I've got a party to attend in the 60s." And he goes, "The 60s in the past?" And he goes, "Yes."
I'll be
Guy.
cool there.
Fancy gonorrhea?
He
Yeah.
goes-
Come with me.
I'll be way ahead of my time. Takes him back in time. Picks up Foxy Cleopatra. When he gets back in time, he picks up more people, including Bert Bacharach
And Elvis Costello.
Elvis Costello, but they're from the 60s.
Yeah.
And Felicity Shagwell from the 60s.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, he's also picked up a lot of vagina from the future and brought her back.
Yeah.
She
She's a
doesn't mention that in the
great time.
film, weirdly.
Yeah.
But she just, maybe the freezing process does her head in or something.
Might have brain freeze.
She got brain damage from it.
Just too many calipos.
Austin Powers freezes. He freezes everybody from the future with him
With touch. Through
by
touch.
his touch. He's making sure
As
to
a
touch.
desperate plea of like, no.
You don't know. You'd be
Oh.
scared though, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know what's happening.
I think he's
He's
gripping
like-
on
so
for dear
he reaches
life.
for Vanilla Ice. He reaches for Foxy Cleopatra. He
It's
reaches
possible that he's also
for-
orgasming him at the time because of the faces pulling. It could be that he was mid.
Yeah. As his nethers have been frozen, something
Yeah,
happens.
he's
to him.
he's
in
knee
deep within
with
him. Yeah,
Vanilla
Yeah,
Ice.
that deep ice feeling. And then Doctor Strange just pops back out of there.
He goes,
Please,
"Job-
my
job-
work is done.
Does he
job
bring
done."
some people back to the future who didn't get frozen?
He probably takes Foxy back with him and a lot of vagina. He goes, "That was a good laugh, wasn't it? See you
Here we go.
see you in 30 years. I'll come check in and see what's happening."
And Felicity Shagwell's just like, that was odd, wasn't it?
That was odd. Might see a few of
Any
them
of
again.
them
Yeah, but it's just the
Maybe.
60s, so everything's odd, right?
Okay,
It's
so
an all a
they're
trip.
tripped
And they're all
out.
Yeah,
tripped out.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, cool. So we've explained that one away with Doctor Strange visiting and being tripped out on meds. Is that
I think that's a solid
it
closure.
seems- I
Tidy?
can't fault it.
I mean, on this occasion, I 100% could fault it, but we are pressed for time. So,
I'm actually more than happy with that.
okay, great. You might have to kick off a summary then because I don't know where to begin.
Separated brothers.
Oh, she's straight in there.
She said she was only going to do one word as well. And you've got to, don't forget,
You've doubled your quota
our hot
already.
words were incest and feet. So you've got to get them in as well.
So work them in. Separated brothers.
One of them freezes.
Subsequently, the other one, through what was the word you said?
Dyad.
Dyad, also starts freezing.
On a party bus.
With, fuck me, Doctor Strange, Foxy Cleopatra, and Vanilla Ice, and a lot of vagina from the future, plus Bert Bacharach, and Elvis Costello, and Felicity Shagwell from the 60s.
They're having a great time. Austin Powers freezes.
From the toes up. In midair.
Mid-orgasm.
Yeah, when it reaches his nethers. When the cold reaches his nethers,
Pulls the face.
pulls the face. We're not going in a loop now. It's
No,
throwing
it's-
me out big
it's
time. It's
all
a
in,
free
we're
for
That is
all.
a free for all,
It's a
no?
free for all. No man's land. Just go for it. Just shout words out. Foot. Incest.
Flying Johnson.
The Flying Johnson ends up in the future.
Doctor Strange whips everyone back to the present future.
Good times ensue.
Good times ensue.
And a 90s classic.
Yeah. Action packed.
That was. that
So much
That party bus, I think, would have been action-packed by the sounds of it. Some of the people you got there.
Yeah, I mean, that was... I mean, was it help or a hindrance to have a guest on this one? I don't know. I can't...
No, it was definitely help.
I think we solved it. Toilet humor, solid accents, multiple twin brother fun.
I mean, to be honest, in all seriousness, like, it makes no sense for either of them to go into the future. So it can only be something even more silly.
Yeah,
for it to
had
be.
to be a lot.
It's almost too silly that it's probably true.
Yeah, and we will probably see there'll be an end credit scene in one of the future Marvel movies where
explain it all the way.
Yeah,
Doctor Strange is sat having a brew with Austin Powers.
it will happen. I can imagine. Phase 27 of the
Phase
MCU.
27, yeah.
They'll have to bring that sort
Then
of thing
the
in,
classic
won't they,
90s, yeah.
when the audience is dead. That was Marissa's audition for BBC Radio.
What do you think your chances are now?
10 out of 10. That was perfect. No notes.
It's been a pleasure to have you on.
It has. Have you had a nice time?
I feel warmly Stockholm syndromed, and thank you for inviting me in here.
Hey, you're so welcome.
You
asked us
we've
again.
We've literally
asked...
been all over the world this episode. We've been to Canada. We've been to Stockholm now. So that's
We've been to 2 Hulls.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Around the world.
So what?
We're in the world's Carmen San
And we've
Diego.
been to the past and the present and the future. So
Yeah. I've had a great time.
He said apathetically.
Can you tell? I suppose we better thank the listeners, haven't we? Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you again for another episode of the Film Thingy Podcast.
Cue music.